Welcome to Discovery Hour. Kingsley here again once more. Hey, have you ever wondered why it is that some families that may have started a business never seem to go past the first, perhaps the first generation? What is it about the inheritance? What is it about the legacy? What is it about what the pioneer or the patriarch of that family left that could not dwindle or last beyond the first generation? That's the question that we started exploring 2 weeks ago. And if you want to catch up on either one of these sides on the top of the screen at the end of this conversation, you would find the previous videos that you can go watch. But let's talk on that a little bit today. And I said it's a topic that is really deep and challenging as well. But I found a great resource that has helped me to really understand some things that I can put in place for my own self and my family, but also I can help you because it's a great topic and it's one that sometimes, for most of us, when a question is difficult for us to find an answer, we give up on it and we move on to something else. But for some reason, this question kept bugging me and I stayed on it. And I was fortunate to have landed on a great resource that has really helped me to start understanding what I can begin to do to help mitigate what I shared in one of the videos called a vicious cycle. Because that cycle is real. I've seen it, and some of you would attest to it as well. So, but today though, I kind of want to give a quick summary and a wrap up on 10 things that for me, I picked reading this book, Abolition, Entitlement Abolition. It's a great resource by Doc Andrew. I recommend you grab a copy for yourself. But I'm going to share with my audience today 10 things because yes, the last video, I gave you one aspect on what you can start to do to help you avoid that vicious cycle. Today, I'm going to add 10 more, perhaps, or maybe 9 more, because maybe some of the things I'm going to talk about will hinge on the one that I shared prior. So let's jump right into it. The first one is this. Entitlement weakens future generation. And by the way, I'm going to read some notes because, again, I don't want to mess my thought, but I want to put my thoughts together such that I can really help you provide the value that I really intend to bring today, okay? So bear with me if I read. But again, I want you to make sure you're paying attention to the key takeaways that I got reading the book. But the first one, like I said again, really entitlement weakens future generations. So it's not about handling wealth to your heirs. Because handing wealth to your wealth like that really just creates dependency and entitlement. So instead of you doing that, why not work on instilling your values and financial education? Important. Doesn't mean you're not going to leave the wealth, but focus more on instilling your values and financial education. Why? Because that will become the bedrock, the foundation that is going to help them to utilize the financial wealth that you've left for them. Number 2, abundance versus scarcity mindset. This is a huge one. This is huge. Yes. I can tell you this, that there was a time when my mindset was in scarcity. Let me share with you something about this because this is so deep we don't even see it. If all of your life, or if you grew up in a poor environment, and now when I talk about poor, it's not just the lack of resource, even though that exists. Okay. On another video, I mentioned my definition for poor, what poor means. The first one is people overlooking opportunities regularly. So poverty is the mindset. It's not necessarily the lack of resources because you can have a lot of money, but you could still be poor. Okay. But the poverty and scarcity mindset, you want to start teaching your children an abundance mindset because wealth as a tool for growth is what you want to help them understand. Because simply, guess what? Money is a tool. That's all money is. Money is a tool to help you to fulfill your purpose in life. That's what money is all about. It's a reward for solving problems. So money is a tool, right? So, but think about the scarcity mindset. And I'm going to give you my perspective based on my experience. I grew up in Cameroon. Now, guess what? Growing up, I don't know more than one or two people that at the time, from my perspective, at the time they were rich, not even wealthy, but they were rich. Okay. I don't know that many. Not only that, I did not even have the opportunity to really see their lifestyles. I only saw it from a distance. How they used money. Didn't only saw it from a distance, like, oh yeah, this person, if he was in Kumba, most of us knew Fayez, who had most of the cinemas in the Southwest region, right? If you were in Boya, we knew of a few people like the Bongams and so forth, but we grew up knowing some of these names, but not necessarily seeing or observing how they obtained their wealth or what they really did to make money. We just knew that, hey, they were affluent people in society. But in your own house and in my own house, it was a day to day, hand to mouth. Go to the market today, cook here, and it's done. Same thing every day. So with that observation, even when I had money, the most I knew to do was to repeat the same thing I saw my parents did and people around me did. Fast forward, now I show up in the United States where there is abundance. Now I can make a lot of money, but now I am doing things the wrong way. Because why? Growing up in a place where there's scarcity, where I never had enough, made me, basically, it elevated my survival instincts. Okay. And when your survival instincts are elevated, what's happening? It means adrenaline is pumping in your system 24/7, because now everything you're doing is just so you can survive. Not because you want to thrive. You are simply working and struggling to survive. And because of that, anything that you can keep and hold on to, you will hold on to it for as long as you possibly can. So now you show up in an environment where everything is almost in abundance. You know what happens? When you start making that money, you spend it quickly, because now you're seeing things that you could not access. Now you're seeing things that you couldn't afford before, and now you can afford it. Oh man, meat, you see meat, you used to eat one piece of meat maybe in a week. Now you can eat meat every day. You eat it now above. You go beyond now. Shoes, you could only afford one pair. Now you can afford a pair of shoes. You want to buy every new pair of shoes that shows up in the market. You rush to get the latest item, because here's what the scarcity mindset is telling you, that this might run out, because you have lived in an environment where that was your day-to-day experience. Things always ran out. Things were never enough. So even though you have now found yourself in a place where there's abundance, that mindset is still telling you, just in case this run out, let me go grab mine. Just in case this is no longer available, let me get my own now. So you are always under pressure to get the latest thing, the newest thing. That is one of the impact of the scarcity mindset. But do you realize that for most of us who are parents here, do you realize that your children don't really have that mindset? Give you an example. How do they handle food after they finish eating and they didn't finish it? What do they usually do? Let me talk to my African parents, because I guarantee you, they just throw the food away. And you would likely get upset and pissed off, because you're like, man, that is food. It could have been preserved. You start complaining, you start scolding at your kids. And from their standpoint, they don't even know why you're scolding at them and why you're mad. Because to them, they are full and there's nothing else to do with this food, because there's plenty. Okay? There's plenty. So they don't mind throwing it away. But you have a problem. Why? Because where you came from, you have experienced, you have lived in scarcity for so long that it has conditioned your way of thinking. And that is what I'm talking about. You need to change that. And you can help your children if you yourself are still struggling with it, because your children really aren't. All they see around them is abundance. If you are in the Western world, that's what your children see. They were born in a nice house, whatever. You drive them to school or back every day, you name it. That's not what you had. So they see abundance already, but you need to help them to understand it and to really maximize the opportunity that it brings. I've spent a lot of time on this because it's a great topic that maybe I'll make a separate video just to talk about that. But that's number two. Number three, the three-dimensional authentic pillars of wealth that I mentioned before. There are three. So wealth is not just money. Okay. That's just the financial pillar. Okay. And your financial capital. But it also includes intellectual capital, which is your knowledge and skills, and social and spiritual capital, which is what? Your relationships and values. That is the third one. Okay. Key takeaway. Number four, strategic stewardship over traditional inheritance. This is another big one, right? Again, it's not just dumping money to them. In fact, I remember one time one of my pastors often used to say this. He said the inheritance he's going to give his children will be a living inheritance. He's not going to do anything whereby they're going to receive something when he dies, which means he is strategically doing certain things with them and for them and to them now that he is alive, such that when he checks out, he doesn't have to do anything else. Think about that for yourself, right? So instead of just giving them that lump sum, think about how you can develop a structured financial plan that rewards responsibility and contribution that fosters long-term success. That is what this point is about. Number five, experiential knowledge or learning over handouts. So instead of you just handing down things to your kids, create opportunities for them to experience something that through that experience, they are going to learn. I'll put it this way. Teaching children through hands-on experiences, such as entrepreneurship or charitable giving, helps them appreciate money's value. Okay? So I'll give you an example. Because I was reading in this, and Doc Andrew said something very interesting. He said even when his children went to college and he had saved up money for them to go to college, he just didn't give them that money. He made them to earn the money. And he actually made them to borrow the money, not from federal aid, but to borrow the money that he had saved up for them. And they paid it back when they got out of college. That is a powerful lesson, which I love. I want you to consider that. Number six, the family bank concept. Think about a structured financial system that allows your heirs to borrow for meaningful projects. So the money is not just there so because now dad died or mom died and left this money. No. Think of how you can structure it so they can utilize it effectively. They can borrow from it to go start a business or whatever, but they better pay it back. I don't know if you heard of this, but there's another great book called What Would the Rockefellers Do? And in that book, the author really helps to expose or uncover some of the things that John D. Rockefeller did in his lifetime, to the point where when he passed, the trust that he left, today that trust exists. There's the main office in New York. It's called the office. And every heir born into that family, they don't just get a handout. No. You would go to school, your school will be financed, your school will be sponsored. But trust me, any money you need to do anything, a project, you better come and present your project, an idea, and why it makes sense. And they will borrow you the money to go do that. Okay? So that's a family bank where you can have resources that your heirs can benefit from, but not just freely, not just willy-nilly. No, there would have to be reasons for doing so. Number seven, financial independence over dependency. Parents, you should encourage self-reliance by letting your children work, invest, and make financial decisions early on. Some of us, we tend to protect our children so much. And as a result, when now they come of age, when they should be able to do certain things, you start seeing them struggle. Why? Because at those early ages, you never did anything or allowed them to take some responsibilities. I encourage you to do so. In a previous video, I talked about the book called The Richest Man in Babylon. I've given each of my kids a copy. I encourage you to do the same. Let them read it and you read it too, so you can participate in the conversation about their learning from the book and see how you can implement something that can help them to start learning the principles they read from the book. Okay? Number 8, the power of a family mission statement. Wow, this one is powerful. I'll read something that I wrote down to you. A written family mission statement outlining your values, your goals, and principles provides a foundation for long-term generational success. Think about having a family's mission statement for your family. Okay. Number 9, tax-free wealth strategies. I can't overstate this, but smart financial planning using strategies like a properly structured life insurance can build and transfer wealth tax-free. Tax-free. Okay. But if you don't know it, you'll not do anything about it. All right. But that's number 9 that I picked up. Number 10, legacy as a living experience. I'll say that again. Legacy as a living experience. A true legacy isn't just about passing down money, again, like I said, but it's about passing down your wisdom, your opportunities, and a mindset that empowers future generations. That's leaving a legacy that becomes a living experience. Those are my 10 takeaways from the book, Entitlement Abolition. I hope this helps you. Please put in the comments which of these you find the most insightful and which of these you may like me to venture into, or maybe do a little deep dive into as well. Because I've also picked one of mine that I want to do a deep dive into. But again, for all of you who've listened, who've watched, put in the comment which of these 10 really was the most insightful to you, and which of these would you like to see me do a video where we can maybe do a deeper dive into that particular aspect. All right, my time is up, and I never close without saying this. With all of your getting, get understanding. Have a great day.